Hey everyone, it's Pastor Paul on a Friday morning. And before we head into the weekend, I just wanted to give you a brief update from me and just a touch base, let you know I'm praying for you and thinking about you. This week I've been dwelling on Lamentations chapter 3. If you know Lamentations in the Old Testament, it's written by the prophet Jeremiah. He has just spent his whole life letting the people of Israel know that God was going to be judging his people, and Jerusalem was going to fall, and the people would be taken into exile. And after spending his whole life trying to call the people back to God, they didn't listen, and the reality happened that God led his people into exile, and Jerusalem fell. And so, as a result of that, Jeremiah then writes the book of Lamentations. It's one long, sustained cry of a prayer to God, of lament. And as you read through it, it's quite beautiful in its poetry, quite heavy in the message. And as you move into chapter 3, you see chapter 3, Jeremiah just lays it out at God for all that God has done to them, all that God has allowed. It just all that's going on in their lives. And if you read chapter 3, the way I see it, Jeremiah is just laying it all out there, and it's almost as if he exhausts himself in his lament, because at verse 21, he turns, and you hear a turn to what becomes a very familiar verse to all of us, a verse of great hope. But seeing it in its context, just to me, just brings down the weight of all that's going on in Jeremiah. And the turn is this. Jeremiah has just lamented, called out to God for all that is going on. And then he says this in verse 21. But this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him. As we move through these challenging days, and especially this week as Vermont has declared a stay-at-home order, and New Hampshire as well yesterday, many of us are feeling the effects on our employment, on our income. We're feeling that this is all getting much closer. And so all the more, I just want to encourage us to call out to the Lord. Let him know what's on your heart. But then as you exhaust yourself in prayer, keep in mind these words. This I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. As we move into each day, my prayer for each one of us is that he would give us eyes to see and ears to hear his mercies all around us. As we look forward to Sunday, I look forward to worshiping with you all. It's our Missions Emphasis Sunday. We'll be looking at the book of Esther, hearing about exiles on purpose, or exiles in crisis on purpose. And we'll also be hearing updates from our missionaries around the world. Be sure to join us 9:30 Sunday morning. We'll have activity sheets for the kids as well with Missions Emphasis. Be sure to join us for an encouraging time together in God's Word, hearing about his work in all around the world. Remember, his mercies are new every morning. Let's head into today and into this weekend and each day looking for his faithfulness. He is true and sure and can be trusted. God bless.